Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are returning to Strategic Command, World War II, War in the Pacific. I've turned down the music a little bit this episode, so hopefully it's not as distracting as it was in the previous videos. And we are getting to the end of the April 16th turn. So far the war is, as you would expect at this point, not going terribly well. The Japanese have taken Guadalcanal and the Solomon Islands. They have taken a sliver of northern New Guinea. We do have some troops at Port Moresby and Buna trying to block further advances. They've taken Rabaul, they've taken... Well, they're going to take the Dutch East Indies when we hit end turn. We've got one unit left at Batavia. We lost our air unit and our naval unit in this turn, although I guess our submarine didn't do anything. Singapore has fallen, Indochina has fallen, Thailand has fallen, and they are driving on Rangoon in an effort to close the Burma Road. Theoretically, they've already crossed the rail line and it should be closed, but the game basically just triggers it when Rangoon and all of Burma falls. At the moment, that has not happened yet, but... They do have units adjacent to the city. They may spend this turn reducing the 6th Chinese army to the north of the city and then the garrison to the west of the city. We'll see, but that's where we are right now. We are trying to move in 2 army corps from India into Burma. I mean, we're trying to do it. We'll see, you know, how successful that is. I'm going to pull my army here at Panama back a little bit to try and maybe get a little bit of breathing room between us and the Japanese down here. But yeah, that's where we find ourselves right now. We do have a fleet that is kind of close enough to support Rangoon if needed, but kind of not. We didn't actually upgrade this carrier, did we? We need to reinforce its air group. I can't afford to upgrade all of it, but I'll get it up to 8. We also have a British submarine here, which probably should do something. I don't want to place it on the Rangoon trade because that'd be silly. Is there a trade route we should put it on? It can't quite reach the Singapore trade routes, but it can get close, so we'll go ahead and move it that way. And it just ran into some landing craft here off of Singapore. I wonder where they're going to go. Maybe Sumatra? I guess we'll find out. It can't attack, though, because I was doing effectively a force march. So, there's that. Meanwhile, I'm going to start moving the U.S. fleet out of Pearl. We are basically getting around to Coral Sea time frame. So, I want to see... We move them about to here, about halfway to Johnson Island. Still keep them in good supply as if they're in port, but at least start to make progress to moving them to the South Pacific. We'll screen with some submarine, or with some destroyers and light cruisers. Bring the battleships in as well. Historically, the battleships were ready to be deployed to the Guadalcanal campaign, but they were not because of fuel concerns. We'll move one sub, try and get it out toward Japan. And that's about it, right? I think we did the rest of our turn already. We reinforced the battleship there. We have... couple of garrisons in New Hebrides and New Caledonia. We've got MacArthur just chilling. We don't have any additional money to spend. I'd be worried about an eventual attack in Northern Australia. I need more units. It feels like time's flying and I'm not building enough. I've been trying to go heavy into R&D, but even that we're not making a ton of progress on yet. Yeah, but I guess we'll see what happens here as we move to the next turn. Communist China is preparing for war. We haven't made any investment in trying to convince them to join us, but apparently they are. And there's partisan activity in the Philippines, which has fallen, so good for us. We developed Advanced Fighters Level 2. Fighters was actually one area we were already at Level 1, but so maybe that'll give us a slight edge in fighter aircraft, which would be nice. We don't have a ton of them yet, though. And we are salvaging the California and Nevada. Did we not send any trade to China? Oh, I wonder if them cutting the rail line did cut the Burma Road. Interesting. My understanding is we should get an event to fly over the hump then, which we haven't yet. But maybe we'll get it. Alright, so at least the Japanese are using a fair bit of their naval movement this turn trying to chase down this Dutch submarine, because if they had just waited for Batavia to fall, I think they would, you know, they would not have to do anything. I think the sub would demobilize. So shifting of troops in and around Wuhan, reinforcing near Nanning. We've been pretty aggressive on the Chinese front, attacking the enemy to try and sort of mostly spoiling attacks, not so much attacks that I think will ultimately succeed, but more attacks that are designed to delay the enemy primary attacks. Spoiling attacks can be very effective as long as you don't lose too many casualties doing it. Meanwhile, their air attacks continuing here against the Chinese army to the north of Rangoon. They weakened it very heavily. I assume an army attack will finish it off here in just a second. Also, they are advancing further into the guts of Burma, and they just nearly destroyed our headquarters unit there. Meanwhile, the Batavia garrison holds its own for a couple of attacks. Maybe they'll survive for one more turn. The Chinese army to the northwest of Rangoon looks like it's about to be destroyed, and it is, as we forecasted. The great Nostradamus, that is me. But the tank there, which we deployed there, the elite, we sent that tank unit to its death, but that elite tank unit did survive so far. And actually gave a good account of itself against that corps of infantry, although it wasn't a Japanese corps unit, it was a Thai corps unit, so their stats aren't as good in this game. And Communist China has joined us. Hell yeah, brother. There's some really good Chinese corps or army units here. Level 11 experience, so they're joining the cause. I was like, it sounds like Katushka rockets there, but apparently it was something else. Meanwhile, 6 Chinese army destroyed. USS Hornet is ready for deployment. First garrison in China. Or not our first, but like the first garrison. Whatever. Alright, let's move these guys. We're trying to get these guys to get more income from Xi'an province. Do we not? So let's go to the war map. We were talking about the convoys here. Convoy map. Yeah, it does look like the Burma road's closed. So there's land convoys, Communist China to Nationalist China. And USSR, yeah, so apparently, again, they did cut the rail line, so that's what matters, I guess. I don't know why, I thought I found some glitch where it was like, nope, as long as you hold Rangoon, that doesn't happen, but apparently I was wrong. 2 to 3. I would like to hurt those enemy light tanks, but that does not seem like a very favorable outcome. I don't know if I want to move these core units into Burma. I'm trying to get that core out. Into India. Now that it's almost certain that Rangoon's gonna fall. But let's let these guys chill and entrench and see how long they can delay the enemy. Does it make sense to try and bombard these enemy aircraft with naval vessels? Or are we just gonna get a battleship sunk? Probably the latter, right? We'll have the carrier aviation to protect them anyway. Let's finish maxing those guys out. ASW warfare. Okay. Alright, so I guess we'll just hold in place there. We'll keep the fleet in place. That submarine, that SNLAF force didn't move. My submarine attack gets to attack it basically for free, so I will do that. And then let's see if my Dutch sub can damage it a little bit. It can. We'll bring our British sub onto the trade route between Singapore and... where is that going? The home islands by the looks of it. So maybe we'll get some trade interdiction of Japanese shipping. Meanwhile, we've destroyed half of a cracked Japanese marine unit, so that's always good. Let's see if we can attack it with our Dutch Air Force. Might as well be aggressive with the units while we've got them. They even did some damage to the Japanese fighters there at Singapore, and they did a little bit more damage. So that unit probably won't get destroyed, but at least they'll have to spend money reinforcing it. I don't think it makes sense to try and spend 45 MPPs to keep these guys going. I think it's better just to let them die. Why prolong the agony, right? Oh, right. We want to do the Doolittle raid, huh? I guess we should do that. I don't know where the Japanese carriers are. Seems a little risky. We got good morale and readiness. Good supply. I don't want to sail by Wake, though. Let's sail north of Wake. Do we send the whole fleet? It seems like a good chunk of the Japanese Navy is down by Singapore, so this seems like it might actually be a good time to launch this attack. Now, obviously, we haven't seen their carriers down there, so it's possible their carriers are somewhere else, like up here. But I'm hopeful that they're not. Again, we know at least we saw one of their super battleships also in and around the Java Sea, so my hope would be that if they've got their super battleships down there, I guess even theoretically if they've got their carriers somewhere else and they could do real damage to our fleet, we could close the distance and wipe them out, perhaps. Like, wipe out their carriers. So it'll be a little bit of a late Doolittle attack, but whatevs. We'll send this cruiser. Get it down there. One heavy cruiser will be headed toward Australia. Send that battleship to Hawaii. Those guys will be north of Hawaii. Alright, so that pretty much does that for... I find the zoom level when you're looking at things more closely in this is not terribly useful. The map's... the area is too big. You need that zoomed out view. Yeah, I'd be real tempted to bombard these Japanese bombers with our naval vessels, but I don't have any land-based air to provide cover, and my carrier's already been used this turn, so I guess not. Alright, what about China? What are we gonna do here? Well, it does expand the front here in central China, because now they can attack this garrison unit. And now we gotta defend this communist base. Okay. So they may take that national morale objective here. They are dug in. We'll try and preempt him again by launching an initial spoiling attack. Suppose we'll do that. Okay. Alright, swap those guys around so we don't get one of those armies destroyed. Reinforce these other guys because their casualties have been high the last few turns. Let the artillery build up its stockpile. Try to attack that armor again in a spoiling attack. Do a little bit of damage to it. Cause it to think twice before fighting again. I'll take 0 to 2. Yeah, they got interceptors we didn't see. Still did damage with the air attack there, though. Maybe we'll destroy this army. Yeah! We just destroyed a Japanese army. Move a size 9 Chinese corps in there. Good job, boys. Not often you're going to get to destroy a full-blown Chinese army. Or Japanese army. In China. Okay. Alright, so the we didn't do anything with that second attack, except we did cause the heavy artillery in defense there to have to fire some shells in defense, so that was good, I think. That way they don't have as much ammo, because artillery units only have so much ammo to go around when if they try and attack next turn. We have these American subs in Perth we need to reinforce. And I think that's it. I think that's pretty much everything we'd want to move right now. So research, US did get level 2 fighters, right? Advanced fighters level 2. That does give us a little bit of R&D funding bandwidth. I think we'll fund naval warfare. And then the British are at 162. Is there anything we want to do with them? Could buy a corps. We could do we don't have enough for infantry weapons. Probably infantry warfare, right? Definitely need to do that. Australia probably also needs to invest in infantry weapons if we're going to use their infantry for anything. So a lot of R&D being spent early by the Allies, not as much unit production as we'd probably like, but it is what it is. So I think that ends this turn. Let's move forward to the next turn here and see what happens. We'll see if we can get the Doolittle raid in. U.S. forces deployed to the Southwest Pacific, so we get a nice free corps here in New Caledonia. That's nice. Also, anti-submarine warfare development for the U.S. completed, level 1, so that's another thing done. Submarine warfare level 2 done. That's also good news. Should help those subs we've got as they try and jump on the Japanese convoys. Other countries are making progress. Wingate's Chindits are being formed. They should be ready soon. And yeah. Why are the British sending stuff to the... Or the Australians are sending a big chunk of their income to the British. Alright, they'll probably finish off this sub here. But again, I'm glad they're attacking it before they finish off Batavia. They could get that thing for free if they wanted to. Alright, they're operating some units in China. And reinforcing some units, so that means no major effort in China this turn. Bombers are hitting Rangoon, which kind of sucks because It's probably going to do damage to the armored unit there. Hinder its ability to defend. Definitely still some artillery stuff going on in China and some other infantry things. Japanese attack a corps in northern Burma. Fortunately, those troops equip themselves well. Defensive artillery against that Japanese army attack here in central China. 2 attacks there by the Japanese, and I'd say we got the better of that. And there goes Batavia. They attacked Rangoon multiple times here. Defenders held their own for now. A number of Japanese units attacking there. The main concern I have in that attack near Yichang is the armor. Alright, there's the Yamato or Musashi, whichever one that is. And then the rest of their navy looks like it's moving north. So now that Batavia's fallen, it does... That's a big chunk of cash to get from it. It does pose some risk to our Doolittle strike. But we should be able to get in and get out this turn. Get in this turn, get out next before they can respond too effectively. Meanwhile, we get a free armored unit there, and is that Pago Pago? And the Dutch destroy vital oil infrastructure before surrendering, so that'll hurt the Japanese economy, at least for a time, until they can repair it. We did some damage to some Japanese convoys there. So... Japan loses 12 MPPs to the British sub Truant. Australia gets a free garrison. Let's put that... I'd say we should put it on the north coast. I think that's where the... Well, I don't know where the Japanese are likely to invade, frankly. Suppose we shouldn't let Sydney be unguarded. U.S. headquarters on the west coast. China gets a new corps. We'll put that... south of Luoyang. Garrison units moving toward those objectives. Can we swap these guys around? We can. Okay, so we'll move a Chinese army in here. Alright, so we're filling out a nice little line here in northern China near Hebei. Maybe we can even push it out toward Bipang. Is that the same thing as Beijing? My Chinese geography is very rough. Alright, those guys can't reinforce. So let's pull back. This is a bad supply situation. Alright, we will do another spoiling attack here. Our artillery fires 1 salvo to support the advance. An army can attack first at 2-2. Get another 2-2, although that didn't end up being 2-2. It ended up being 1-1. Alright, so we shot that army up a bit. They'll probably have to spend this turn reinforcing. Pull them back. Alright, damage that tank freely again with the elite Chinese troops. And then we're going to reform a new line here near these defensive positions. I wish my engineers were further south so I could use them to dig a ditch or something. The Japanese have deployed the Indian National Army to China. That's funny for a number of reasons. For a number of reasons, that is rather amusing. All right, let's... reinforce those units. Okay. China's actions are done this turn. You know, I feel like if we hold out in Rangoon this turn, we are going to get destroyed, and it's best just to withdraw and allow the Japanese to take the base. We're going to pull our headquarters back. We're pulling back into India with those forces. Let's have this tank live to see another day. And we will redeploy them through the power of sea power into India. We'll leave the garrison. The garrison can't even move, can they? The garrison can withdraw too, so I guess we'll just abandon Rangoon altogether. As we begin forming up our position in Burma this turn. And we'll move our carrier. I'm going to move the carrier to Chittagong so it can provide some air cover for these boys. They'll provide air cover over these units from this port. And we'll move our fleet back into these ports here in Colombo. We'll spread the fleet out to get it back in port. Some of these units, I think the US units can get some ASW upgrades. Okay. Bombing that headquarters would be my concern. So the Dutch did surrender, but the Dutch ships did not, interestingly enough. We're going to move this British submarine up the supply line a little bit to hopefully prevent the enemy from immediately finding it, now that they know they're being attacked from there. I'm assuming if they're on this hex, they will launch, regardless of if I force... I hate using the term force march for a ship, but it's what we're doing. So we got our carriers on the line. And we got our escorts around them. This is very dangerous. American fleet is very exposed. We'll try and give these ships an adequate screen. Mixture of heavy ships and a few light ships. But yeah, if the Japanese carriers came around, we'd be in some serious trouble. Alright, so we just had to move one carrier here, technically. I don't know that I have to... Do I have to do fighters? Do I have to switch it to bombers? Maybe I can't do bomber mode because we're not... Because we force marched? I'm not sure. Alright, let us move the U.S. ships to the South Pacific. I think we'll base out of Suva, maybe, to defend against Guadalcanal. Maybe. Let's upgrade this carrier's units. Advanced fighters level 2 and long-range aircraft. I don't know if ASW for the battleships is all that important, but... They're not destroyers or anything. Alright, meanwhile, we got some new units which just arrived. I need a headquarters on the front here. These guys are under strength, and I can't get them to full strength because they need a headquarter closer. Suppose we could throw MacArthur on a transport and get him on New Caledonia. Make our advance based out of that. Also, we do have these fighters here. We can go ahead and upgrade them to level 2. Okay. Is that everybody? I think that might be everybody. Everybody I want to upgrade anyway. Oh, forgot about the subs down here. Alright, we're going to get these guys on the... Well, we should get them on the Palembang trade route. I don't love sending them through the Java Sea. That feels risky as hell, but... Getting a sub on the Dutch East Indies trade route while we have one on the Malaya trade route would be helpful. I'm assuming until we upgrade them to like their level 2 sub tech, we may have like a simulated Mark 14 penalty or something like that. But we'll see. Meanwhile, this turn, I guess we need to do R&D. We've got 600 left for the US, and we've got a little bit of a buffer now that we did that next weapon, or next research item. I don't know about armored warfare. I don't know how important that is. Logistics feels important. Or maybe advanced sub. I didn't realize we haven't gotten to level 2 there yet. We'll spend 2 on that. US R&D is maxed out again. British are going to spend on infantry weapons, level 2. And Australia, should they spend anything? Probably infantry warfare. So again, mostly R&D, not buying a ton of units. The US does have some money to buy some units though, so we should do that. 392. Alright, let's buy some fighters. We can base on some of these islands we'll end up attacking, I think. A cavalry division! No, thank you. We'll avoid that. We'll save the remaining 92. And... like, Russia could do some stuff, I guess, right? We could upgrade these guys' infantry weapons or whatever. Not that I think Russia's about to be in the war. They're not, but there will be a day when that comes. Hopefully we haven't lost already. Okay. Alright, we'll end one more turn and see what happens. Do we get the Doolittle raid? Japanese celebrate the fall of the Dutch East Indies. There's many loyal and resourceful people living in places that the Japanese have captured, and some are already starting to make contact with us, offering their services to provide intelligence on the enemy. A Coast Watch, 25 MPPs, yes. Do we not get the Doolittle raid? Because we forced sailed them there or whatever? Well, that's annoying. I hope they don't know where we are. Do I have to just sit them there again? Japanese take Portuguese Timor. So they are now just off the north coast of Australia. Destroyers are attacking my subs, trying to get into the Java Sea. I guess I should have thought about that. Moving in between that strait, because it's adjacent to one of their land territories, they would know they're there. So that sub may have to try and evade. Or it is trying to evade. Alright, they're reinforcing the armored unit. It'd be funny if China invaded Vietnam. I'm a ways away from having the resources to do that, but that's the one area we've had real success in China is in the south. Give me a Doolittle raid already. Interceptors where? Oh, yep. The fighter interceptors over here on the lower left. Sorry, this turn result isn't as pretty, I guess. But the carrier aviation is intercepting these Japanese air attacks on these troops along the Burma-India border, and at least lowering the damage that is being done. Man, I really shouldn't have stayed zoomed out when I hit end turn. Everything looks so small. Alright, pretty successful attack there near Hebai. They destroyed 4, lost 1. Armor's pushing in through central China here. We have very poor supply lines on that area. Paratroopers landed in southern China near this one remaining Chinese port there. They've almost destroyed the army there. Not quite yet. A lot of Japanese air units in China. They are making a real push here. Burma surrenders. We should get the flying over the hump. Oh, there's our Doolittle raid. Japanese national morale falls as a carrier-launched aircraft bombed Tokyo. Does that mean they're going to go for Midway now? U.S. national morale rises. Yay! That's the first positive event we've had so far from a national morale point of view. Japan sponsors the formation of the Burma Independence Army Corps. Allied raiders disrupt the Burma-Japanese convoys. Alright. The loss of Burma and the closing of the Burma Road significantly weakens our position in China. It may be possible for a small amount of supplies to be brought to us from India via the autonomous region of Tibet. The criteria to enable this are: we must maintain control of the Xinjiang province. This is done by keeping a Chinese core army or tank unit within 2 hexes of 3648. It can't be a garrison unit? Joint Chiefs of Staff have been discussing plans to defeat Japan. The U.S. Navy is in favor of advancing island by island toward Japan via the Central Pacific. Admiral King is also in favor of aiming the advance so that it'll ultimately lead to liberating portions of the Chinese coastline. He argues that this could serve as a base for which to attack Japan, also isolating it from its convoy routes. Joseph Stilwell has informed us of his desire to land U.S. land and air units to be sent to India for service against the Japanese in Southeast Asia. General Marshall disagrees and thinks that the theater is too far away to make worth sending troops there. General MacArthur has expressed his opinion that we should advance via New Guinea to land and liberate the Philippines as soon as possible. He disagrees vehemently with the island campaigns and plans for a landing in China. Start planning your own offensives and refer to the strategy guide for information to help you inform your choice. Thank you for that. Alright, we got a bunch more units this turn. So we got a Army Corps, USS North Carolina, and the Cleveland class. Blamey HQ is arriving in Australia. We should maybe send them to Port Moresby. And yeah, they haven't made any real push on Moresby yet, interestingly enough. Alright, our air units here are doing okay. We need to reinforce the aircraft. They did lose some men in those attacks. Our boys are pulling back into India. Okay. Alright, we're going to spend most of our China points reinforcing the army at Fuzhou. Hopefully they hold out for another turn. Are they still fortifying? Can they move? Oh, they weren't done fortifying yet? I thought they were. Damn it. Alright. One to 3, I will take that for sure. Nearly destroyed a Chinese cavalry or Japanese cavalry corps. Maybe we can. Hell yeah, Japanese division destroyed. Go communists, go! Alright. So we did defend this communist base. We destroyed a Japanese cavalry division, which is not exactly their strongest division, but nonetheless, Japanese units being destroyed, that's always a good thing. I mean, when you're the Chinese. Okay. So do I have to keep a unit? Core? Oh, fuck. I gotta keep a core. So these garrison units moving this way mean nothing, right? I guess we'll see. But I'm assuming it means nothing to put a garrison unit there. We will see what happens and then reposition our cores as needed after we find out. These guys, infantry weapons level 1. Wow, a lot of ships here. So there's the Yamato. Alright, we'll try and move this sub back to Australia to reinforce, and then we'll move them back along the supply line. They're right along this. They're the convergence of the supply line. I love the idea of putting subs on positions that have converging convoy routes, because theoretically you could do more damage that way. The American ships, can't forget about them. Put them on the, well, what is this? Oh, put them here for sure. Look at all those. The submarine war has begun. Alright, now let's zoom out so we can move these guys back toward Midway / Pearl. It's already after the date of the historical Battle of Midway, but, you know. At least I think it is. Yep, it is. I didn't see the date when I said that. I wonder if Japan will land in the Aleutians now. Or if Midway will happen because that event, like, triggers it. You know, the Doolittle raid, does it trigger it? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I'm tempted to throw a destroyer along a transport route just to do more damage to their economy. They have just gotten a fair chunk of plunder. Alright, meanwhile... Alright, so Hornet has arrived, so we'll send it toward Pearl, so we'll have 3 carrier groups now, if a campaign be necessary. Can we operationally move to islands? No, you gotta transport them. Alright, we need a headquarters unit on some of these islands, so let's send this guy out. Move that battleship here, and then we'll move him to Hawaii. It's a first step to the front. I would think they're going to go for Moresby before they go for like Sydney or Canberra, but I don't know. Australia is still basically empty of troops. Can't even do anything with him. That I guess because he deployed this turn. All right, MacArthur, go. I don't know. Do MacArthur things. New Caledonia's supply situation should get better, right? I guess a little bit. All right, we're going to make New Caledonia. Maybe it should be New Hebrides. There's more room on New Hebrides. I don't particularly want to put those guys ashore, but we'll see. I also don't think they're going to attack Pearl right this second, so let's move these Marines from Pearl to somewhere else where they could maybe be useful. And I think that'll do it for this turn. Actually, no, we still gotta do the upgrades here for these ships with their ASW tech. Oops, I hit cancel. Can we just do this? All right. That more or less worked, right? Okay, we still got 400 money left for the US to spend. I'm assuming special forces are the best for attacking islands. I don't really know if that's true. B-17 Flying Fortress. I think it would change to the B-24 if I upgrade it. We have enough money to buy a super battleship? That'd be the Iowa for the US, right? What about a regular carrier? That price has come down. So we'll buy a carrier. I think another carrier will be important. Oh, Bonhomme Richard, sad noises. Alright, meanwhile, we've got 100 money left for the US. Anything we want to invest in? Because we can invest up to 100. Maybe submarine warfare. Spend a chit there. Naval construction's already maxed. We really should spend a little bit on logistics, so I don't have anything left to do it with, but... Alright. Alright. Well... I guess we can end the turn, and then... We probably don't have time to do another full turn, but we can end this turn, see what the Japanese do. Japanese advance into Southeast Asia poses a great threat to India, and a serious invasion could place our empire in mortal danger. It's therefore recommended that we mobilize as many police reservists and volunteers as possible to provide garrisons. It'll cost 35 MPPs for 2 turns. Okay. Is there any reason not to? Yeah, say yes. Garrisons are mobilized to defend British India. With Burma now in Axis hands, China is virtually isolated from the outside world, and the only way we will be able to send supplies to the Chinese will be through airlifting supplies over the Himalayas from Lido to Kunming. The airlift will provide China with 60 MPPs a turn, but defending Calcutta as well as Lido in the northeast India will be of paramount importance to maintain the airlift. For every turn that supplies arrive this way in China, Chinese national morale will be boosted by 250 points. That seems like a no-brainer. We should do that. They need that morale. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, would you like to set up the Office of Strategic Services? Okay. This will involve recruitment, training, and deployment of agents, including some of Japanese origin, to help train, organize, and prepare partisans for future risings. Saying yes to this will greatly increase not only the possibility of partisan activity, but also the effect it'll have when it occurs. No longer will Japan be able to afford to leave important cities free of units. Setting up the Office of Strategic Services will provide it with adequate resources. It will cost 25 MPPs for 4 turns. Saying yes to this can lead to deployment of partisan units in Indochina and Dutch East Indies, as well as increase in Communist China national morale, starting in July 44. It also provides an opportunity to invest in Filipino resistance. It'll also create the possibility of Thailand switching sides. Okay. Due to the time it takes sub-contact, no OSS organized partisan activity can occur before January 1st, 43. Okay, so the only real downside there is the delay. U.S. Pacific convoys headed to Australia. Oh, that's new then, right? But they've disrupted the Canada-Australia convoys. Soviets get industrial development, level 2. China develops industrial technology, level 2. Australia develops artillery weapons, level 1. Naval construction, level 1. That's a good day on R&D, at least. Okay, so 69 supplies went to Australia, 60 over the hump. So, U.S. is definitely bankrolling this war so far. I wonder if we can send more to Australia, or if that's just a set amount. Alright. I forgot about Japan hasn't even done their turn yet. They're just like, these are all events. Okay, so the sub was pushed off. Well, they stayed on the convoy route, though. So a lot of ASW work going on from these Japanese destroyers here, going after our subs. Okay, this is the first... I forgot to zoom back in. I'm sorry, guys. But 2 Japanese fleet carriers just bombed China, so we know they're at least off the China coast. That's good intel. It's the first we've seen of those fleet carriers since the Pearl Harbor attacks. What are we doing here? Oh, shit. The Japanese are bombing our carriers from Wake Island. Looks like the fleet interceptors did some damage and didn't take any damage, so that's good. Meanwhile, Japanese are bombing the British carrier in India. Or was that... No, sorry, those are interceptors. It doesn't look like they did any damage to the carrier, just to the aircraft. We're going to intercept them again. So this carrier is doing yeoman's work without any land-based air in India. It is doing some important work to keep the India front secure. Artillery in China pounding Fuzhou here in the south. Infantry just badly damaged the Chinese communists here. Almost wiped that army out. I wonder if the Chinese communists are worse on the defensive or something. Might make some sense. Meanwhile, the breakthrough sort of in central China still continues. It could be driving towards Xi'an, or if that's how you pronounce it. That's the area the road up here leads. We don't have a lot of reserves in China to stop it. Japanese landed on Andaman and the Nicobar Islands. They'll take that. That's a national morale objective, so they'll get a morale boost for that. I wonder if they'll try and attack China through Yunnan. We don't have any troops guarding the back door there. Theoretically, they could. They didn't in real life, but they could. And if they take Kunming, that would stop the supplies over the hump. Japanese morale boost as it gives free India, the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Bismarck Archipelago convoys. Okay. China has a new core unit, which we will deploy in the north. I'd like to deploy it to Xi'an, but frankly I need the and it doesn't look like those garrisons did anything there, so I need to defend Xi'an from this armored breakthrough. Reinforce everybody we can. I actually think we'll pull this Chinese corps back rather than take more damage. We'll cripple that Japanese garrison unit there. Nope, don't do that. That's a national morale base. Okay. Alright, we drove that garrison back. We didn't destroy it, but did drive it back. Nice! And then we almost destroyed that air unit here. 5 casualties. Attacking air units on the ground is very effective, so that was a great result. Can we finish off this defensive anti-aircraft fire? Well, I was hoping maybe we'd finish it off, but we did not. Again, the success we're having is all in the south. A little nervous about this carrier being in such close range to the enemy bombers hitting us from Rangoon, but we'll bring our carriers back to Pearl. Along with the rest of the Pacific Fleet, which all sailed out that way, more or less. And we'll probably wrap the turn up there. I don't know if there's a lot else to do right this second. We'll take some time off screen to think about next steps, but the Doolittle raid did occur at least, so good result there for us. Let's actually take a look here before we go real quick on the reports. So if we go to graphs, we take a look at research and development. US is spending a bunch, Japan is spending some, US is definitely spending more. Less than that one turn, but so they've spent 1,400 total, or 1,200 total. US has only actually spent 800 total, but the Allies all told have spent more combined. Plunder, Japan has plundered 700 MPPs. They've collected 4,300 against the Americans' 4,500. America's lost about 1,000 MPPs. Japan has lost almost 3,500 MPPs worth of units. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today's episode. We've been going for about an hour, so we'll wrap this up here. I hope you guys are enjoying Strategic Command. We will finish this turn up in our next episode, and until then, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'm out.